well. I hope wherever you are having a very good morning despite this cold Tuesday. I'm your host Emmanuel Onyango and welcome to this morning brief on this Tuesday morning.
I'm your host Regina Mwangi, welcome to the show.
And on our first story, jail beacons for auctioneer linked to violent Westland eviction. An auctioneer linked to the illegal demolition of residential house in Westland has been ordered to appear before a top court for sentencing after he ignored court orders blocking destruction of the property. Justice Oscar Angote of the Land and Environment Court has ordered Mr. Zachary Baraza of Siuma Auctioneers Limited to appear in court on Thursday, November 17th for mitigation and sentencing over disobedience of court orders. Mr. Baraza was cited in contempt of court orders dated October 18th and November 1st, 2022, which barred the eviction of Niraj Shah and his family from the property. The judge said Mr. Baraza abused his powers as an auctioneer by evicting the family without express order or warrant from the court. The judge went on to state that the cutting away household goods. According to the judge, the eviction was completely contrary, which expressly prohibited him from evicting persons or residents living on the land. And I quote, "It is the finding of this court that he did not only act contemptually, but abused powers that he has an agent of this court. The issue of who actually demolished the building for now is neither here nor there, having found the auctioneer went against court orders by evicting the residents without express order of the court or warrants. I find that he is in the contempt of the order which were issued in presence of the advocate Nyanyuki," State Justice Angote said. The law provides that whoever disobeyed orders of the court is liable for imprisonment of 2 years or fine not exceeding 2 million shillings. And in another story,
Kenya seeks to sell KQ to foreign strategic investor. The Treasury will seek a foreign strategic investor to buy a controlling stake in Kenya Airways as a part of returning the national carrier to profitability. Treasury Principal Secretary nominee Chris Kiptoo told MPs the government will push for a fresh equity investor who is expected to inject a capital and offer management expertise in the next step of restructuring. If the sale goes through, it will see the state reduce its shareholding for 48.9% and cut the ownership of lenders who converted their debt at 38%. Air France KLM owns a small stake in Kenya Airways, and it remains to be seen if the multinational, previously KQ's anchor shareholder, will sell its remaining 7.76% stake. Kenya will prefer a cash-rich foreign airline as a strategic investor in a plan that could offer the national carrier aviation expertise and cut its reliance on the state for operational cash. A story about the woman who, was caught in, imagine living in a house, for more than 10 years and then you find that the house has been demolished. How is the feeling?
I feel pity for that family at the moment because when the time they're being evicted, they have nowhere to go, and all the property has just been laid to disappointment for that family. Because when you see that a family that has been living over in a place over 40 years, and all of a sudden someone comes and says that place has been owned by someone else, it's a sad moment for that person, or for that family actually. Because when we spoke to that woman, he said that the children are at school, they don't know what is happening at home. But now I'm wondering, what if when they come back at home, where are they going to sleep? Because as we all know, school is almost being closed very soon, in the next 1 week. And when they come back home, what are they going to see?
But on the positive side, at least there is compensation for the demolishing of the house.
Yeah, there's compensation, but the compensation, are they going to be given a new house that is fully furnished, just like the way they had before? Because this is it's a sad story for the family. They don't know where at the moment, they don't know where they're living. They're living in a situation whereby they only depend for the court at the moment to do the ruling and give them what they really want. Yeah.
Okay. Some other stories. Meet the Ugandan man with 12 wives and 102 children. Wow. Now, contours of a well-fragmented rice fields and what remains of indigenous trees neighbor, the homestead of Mzee Musa Hasaya. The home springs to life at sunrise with the chirping of birds and early risers running calls. Some of the children, aged anywhere between 10 and 13 years, tidy up the compound as others head to the well to collect water. This is Bugisa Cell, Mulaga Ward in Busaba Town Council, Butaleja District, Uganda. By traditional African setting standards, this is a home of a big man. A number of grass-thatched houses made out of mud and wattle surround a 12-bedroomed semi-permanent house that is home to Hasaya, his 12 wives, 102 children, and 568 grandchildren. But who is this man? Hasaya, we learn, is a man of many hats and has been the village chairperson for the past 2 decades, besides other assignments bestowed upon him by dwellers of Bugisa. We go ahead to pick his mind on the many issues of interest, particularly his large family. Hasaya laughs at the notion of a man having only one wife. How can a man be satisfied with one woman? That is a sign of being born a man but with female hormones. Oh, he says as he points to one of his wives preparing breakfast. All my wives cook the same way and we live together in the same house. It is easy for me to monitor them and also stop them from eloping with other men in this village, he says. Mrs. Hanifa Hasaya, Hasaya's first wife, says their husband takes care of their needs and loves all of them equally. We cook, eat, work together and sleep under the same roof. He's a good husband to all of us, Mrs. Hasaya says. At Hasaya's compound, it is not easy to identify which child belongs to which women. They bear a striking resemblance and easily gel with each other. More is like a school setting. He says although he can differentiate his children and grandchildren, he does not know them all by name. The name has all generations, the ones who have started families around them, the main house, those teeming with adolescents, and others just out of their nappies. The older children help their mothers tend to the younger ones. Dozens of others have either got married and have their own families are working far away. Born on January 19, 1955, Hasaya married his first wife at 16 years in 1971 after dropping out of school. I married my second wife and paid 3 cows, 4 goats, and a fine of 15,000 shillings. I later married a third wife and I paid the dowry of 3 cows, 4 goats, and 15,000 shillings, he says. He adds, after 2 years I married a fourth wife, whom I paid 2 cows, 4 goats, and 15,000 shillings as dowry. I continued marrying until the number reached 12. Mrs. Amina Nahiranda, 20, a daughter who got married at a tender age, says their father brought them up well. We grew up disciplined children. Although he did not have a lot of money, nobody went hungry, she says. Mr. Zabina Hashara, 28, the youngest wife, says they might be co-wives, but they love and treat each other like sisters. The harmony in our marriage comes from our husband, whom we also treat as a father. None of us cheats on him. He's 67 years old, but he's the energy of a 25-year-old, she says. Wow. That's indeed a story there.
It's a very, very interesting story.
And a long one.
Hey,
we have not even finished.
Because when you see that a 67-year-old man, you have your last wife is 28 years old.
Imagine.
Maybe you never know. Maybe you'll go for the third wife who is around 25 years old.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Hasaya is said to have a 25-year-old energy.
Yeah.
So meaning he has the capability of maybe going for another lady.
True.
Because having those so many wives, can we say this is another, who was it? Was it Solomon?
Yeah, I think it's King Solomon who had the largest number of
Yeah.
women in the history that we know.
These are very.
So at least we know Mr. Hasaya.
Maybe I can be like him one day.
Will you manage? Likewise, in the colony of Kenya.
I'll try. I'll try. In other stories, in the business stories, SGR trains fully booked. Airfares double ahead of Christmas. The standard gauge railway passenger service from Nairobi to Mombasa is fully booked ahead of Christmas, forcing holiday makers to seek expensive alternatives like air travel that has seen a more double rise in fares. The booking register shows that the train are fully booked on December 23rd, with only a few seats left on second-class coaches on December 24, said to be snapped up in the coming days. This is said to boost bus companies and airlines like Jambo Jet and Fly 540 as families retreat to the coastal town of Mombasa for the Christmas season festival. Airlines have also increased fares for early bookings for Nairobi to Mombasa and Malindi flights more than a month before Christmas, and the ticket prices are expected to rise further in the coming weeks. Jambo Jet is currently charging passengers traveling to Mombasa from Nairobi on December 24 up to 16,300 on one-way air ticket from 7,000 it's charging today. Tickets to Malindi from the capital for December 24 flying have shot to 17,300 from the current 7,000. Carriers reckon that flights to the coastal towns of Malindi and Mombasa will this year cross the 25,000 shilling mark on the expected jump in demand. This means that Kenyans intending to book flights close to December 25th will pay more, promising to boost revenues of the carriers that were hit hard by tight travel measures imposed by the state to curb COVID-19. And I quote, "Passengers have finally mastered the art of booking the SGR train early. It is the only way out to enjoy the service, bearing in mind that we normally have huge demand, especially around the Christmas period." Kenya Railways Corporation, KRC, Managing Director Philip Mainga told the Business Daily. Increased booking have also been witnessed day to Christmas, and indicators that more people will opt to travel to the coast way before December 25th. For instance, on December 22nd, the SGR train has a few seats available mainly in economy coaches as the first class section is fully booked. Passengers in the economy class pay 1,000 while the first class tickets go for 3,000 shillings. Children below 3 years are not yet charged any fee to take a ride on the train, while those aged 3 to 11 pay half the fares for adults.
Wow, it's indeed an interesting story.
It's an interesting story because we see that it shows that Christmas is already here.
Yeah,
We have already finished the year, and many people tend to go to enjoy themselves in the coastal area.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an interesting moment for those who are traveling.
True.
And even maybe for the traveling agencies like SGR and the buses, because you see the fares have risen.
Yeah.
And for example, it's cheaper for those who are traveling through the SGR than using buses or coaches.
True.
Yeah.
Wow, happy festive seasons. Now, Musalia Mudavadi, the pain of high cost of living will be with us for a while. Kenyans have been asked to be patient with President William Ruto's administration. According to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, the challenges of the high cost of living that Kenyans are currently facing will be a short-lived pain that will soon be replaced with big gains from the investments being made in food production. He blamed the hard economic times facing the country on former President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, in which President Ruto served as deputy president, saying it had lived beyond its means. The highest cost of living is an inherited deluge of a government that lived beyond its means, a headache that the former government left to us. It didn't happen by accident, but by commission and omission. You cannot sincerely attribute the current pain Kenyans are going through to this government, Mr. Mudavadi said during an interview. He said the Ruto administration was changing tact from feeding on an empty trough of consumption to filling the production granary. The pain will be there for a while, but in the end there will be gain. If we sustain support for production, the prices of basic consumer goods will come down with increased supply, he said. He claimed without providing any proof that the outgoing regime used the scorched earth policy approach as an attempt to set up Dr. Ruto's administration to fail. This is where serious policy decisions will have to be made to bring the economy back on the right trajectory while easing the cost of living. Mr. Mudavadi told Kenyans that a number of austerity measures will be put in place to harm the people but to help in cleaning up the mess inherited from the previous administration. We live in an economy where more than 1.4 million people are unemployed, close to 4 million are underemployed, and many more continue to join these ranks. We are wasting talent that can contribute to building the nation. We have a plan to invest in ventures that will create jobs for these Kenyans. We are setting up structures to boost close to 10 million informal sector workers, mamambogas, hawkers, mkokoteni pushers, who are often left out in the provision of government services to foster and uplift them. We are looking forward to investing in this informal sector to grow it and make it larger contributions to the economy, he said. He claimed that the opposition Azimio la Umoja One Kenya alliance was misleading Kenyans over claims that Dr. Ruto's regime was seeking to increase their tax burden. President Ruto is on record issuing a directive to the public to pay taxes as the government moves to ramp up revenue collection on its race to meet 6 trillion shillings collect target by 2027. So do you agree with Mr. Mudavadi?
Every leader at the moment is just keep on saying that we should give them time, we should give them time. We should give them time to do what? Because at the moment you see that Kenyans are struggling.
Yeah.
Cases are happening at the moment.
Yeah.
People are not living happily.
Yeah.
And this story of giving the president time, it's enough. We don't want to give them time. Every day they keep on saying, if they have not done something, give us time each and every single day. We just want to see the action. The story of giving them time is over now. They have been in the government for now it's 3 months, and they have not done anything that I've seen that can make me happy to see that Kenya is going forward, because people are struggling and they want to see action, not just words of giving them time.
But honestly speaking, according to Mr. Mudavadi, I think me particularly, I'm not in a position to blame the government, because whatever they're doing right now, they're saying they'll be paying for some time, but then it's an investment of paying for future gains. So that means it's only for a while, then later on, people will come and gain from what have been invested. Okay. Because right now, as they brought this cheaper fertilizer, we have to wait for some time for production to come through so that we can see the results they were saying. Yeah, and that's when the story of, high cost of flour will come down. Yeah. So I think the government is knowing what they are doing, because again we see that the current situation of the country, it's because of the previous regime that was there. So they're trying first to clear the mess that was there, so that they can now bring their tactics in serving the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
In another story, why parents want primary school to host junior high. The structure of the competency-based curriculum, the CBC, could be decided as early as in 2 weeks and potentially mark another major policy reversal by the Kenya Kwanza Alliance administration. An analyst by the Nation of presentation made at various venues before the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform indicates that the domiciling of junior secondary school is a running concern. Although opinion is split over the issue, there appears to be a strong push to reverse the Jubilee administration decision to domiciling in its secondary school. It is also not lost on observation that the momentum by the previous administration to prepare secondary schools to receive the pioneer CBC class has been slowed down. Particularly, the project to build extra classrooms has slowed down apart from the completion of those contracted under the previous regime. President William Ruto will receive a preliminary report from the reform team at the end of the month, after which he is expected to announce to the country how learners will transition to JSS in January next year. Under the CBC framework, JSS comprises grade 7, 8 and 9, after which learners proceed to senior secondary grade 10, 11 and 12. Domiciling JSS in primary schools will pose a challenge for the government because primary school teachers are not trained to teach secondary school content. It will also go against the original thinking behind creating the secondary school segment. On Friday last week, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said the government would adopt the report with Kenyans' views without altering a comma or a full stop. Although the team has 6 months to read the final report, it's expected to give progress report at the end of November and January. The President will receive the initial recommendation in the same week that 1,287,597 learners in the Pioneer CBC class will undertake the inaugural Kenya Primary School Education Assessment. Unlike the 244,188 counterparts in Standard 8 who will be sitting the Kenya Certificate of Primary Examination surely will be in secondary school come January. The grade 6 learners do not know whether they will remain in their current school or move to secondary institutions. We see that it's becoming a dilemma at the moment because most people don't understand how it's going to work for them. It's either the standard 6 at the moment because they're also doing the exams, so they also want to know, will they continue in the same school or are they going to secondary school, whereby we can see that there are secondary schools that have already been given the green light to host the juniors secondary, and also there are primary schools that have also been given the green light to host the junior secondary. So it's a situation whereby we are going to wait and see how the government is going to handle the matter, so that the parents may not be confused on what they're going to do next.
So thank you for being with us. That has been Newspaper Review. Make sure you follow us at all our social media platforms at Romi TV Africa. I've been your host, Regina Mwangi.
And I've been your host, Emmanuel Anyango.
See you tomorrow, same time, same place.